Om Shanti. Hello, brothers and sisters. How are you all? I hope you're all enjoying these sessions on the secret of Gita for the challenging times. And it gives me a great pleasure to be with you all for this session. Definitely, we are getting some very valuable insights and the Indian spiritual wisdom, which is given by God Himself in Bhagavad Gita. And maybe some of you might have applied that wisdom in your practical lives also and experienced some of the other benefits also during this lockdown time. It definitely helps. Every time when I do Gita, I find something new every time. And it gives me great pleasure whenever I see those new things coming up in my life also. So last time we saw on the laws and commandments of the war, that how we have to place our consciousness in a positive mold, and then the deep wisdom on the eternal identity of the soul, that the soul cannot be cut through a sword, it cannot die, it is an eternal entity. And at the same time, when we are the embodiment of values, we increase our aura, the glow of the soul. And whenever we are functioning on the basis of vices, weaknesses, the aura diminishes. And that is what is affecting the life of a person. How when the aura diminishes, so many negative things come up in life, and we become victims of those negativities also. But whenever those positive things come up in life, definitely we experience goodness. Every time we hear some good things happening in our life. So this was a very valuable lesson, that we have to be cautious of what type of aura I am creating for myself through my thought patterns, through my attitude. So we have to be very careful of that. Definitely, we have all experienced, and we see also how when a person's aura is powerful, positive, his not just the spiritual immunity increases, but his physical immunity also is affected, because it is according to the quality of thoughts that we generate that it affects the physical body also. So very deep connection between our consciousness and the physical body. So we need to enhance our inner powers. We need to increase our positive aura as much as possible we can. Then we heard that how God is saying to Arjuna that according to the original religion of thyself, which is known as Swadharma, you are not worthy to fear, as there is no other more beneficial path than to fight, being the embodiment of thy religion. Constantly, whenever we have to fight this battle of life, God is cautioning Arjuna that you have to fight it on the basis of your Swadharma. What is Swadharma? What is the original eternal religion of our own self, or the eternal transcendental nature? Normally, when this word is used, Swadharma, people refer it to the bodily religions, people refer to the different caste system that is in India. And normally, the great people, the great saints, or the so called Mahatmas of today's great souls of today's world, who speak a lot on Gita, they tell us that Swadharma means it is the bodily religion. And because Arjuna belonged to the warrior family, warrior caste, they normally related that his Swadharma was that he is a warrior. He is coming from the warrior caste. And therefore, he must fight. He cannot just run away from the field. He cannot just run away from his duties. But actually, God will never speak at a physical level, at a gross level. What God is trying to say, because if it is just as at the physical level or at the gross level, then what do we mean to say? Was Gita only for the warrior people or warrior caste? No. If the teachings of Gita are for the entire humanity, then what is the Swadharma of the entire humanity? What is the eternal transcendental nature of the entire humanity or the eternal soul? So here he's trying to explain to us that we need to stabilize our consciousness in our eternal religion of our own self, or eternal transcendental nature, or the Swadharma. We all know that these are two entities. One is the physical body and the other is the soul. When the soul enters the body, that is when the body starts functioning. And once the soul leaves the body, that is when the body is declared to be dead. It is not at all functioning. So, the body has its own nature, like the body is made up of the 5 elements of nature. And so, the body demands the 5 elements of nature for its survival. We all need oxygen. Why? Because this body is made up of oxygen. If there is no oxygen, no other gases can replace. The body requires oxygen. And so, nature has its own way of creating all that oxygen for all this entire population on this world. Similarly, each and every human being, or each and every creature, I would say, not just human beings, but each and every creature wants water. Why? Because 60 to 70% of this body contains water. When a person drinks water, he doesn't think how much water he has to drink. But as soon as the water level is balanced, then he would leave the glass. He would not drink excess. That, okay, tomorrow also I can go along with this. No, the body would just excrete it. So the 5 elements of nature, that is what each and every creature requires for its survival on this world. And so nature has provided all the 5 elements of nature to all the creatures equally. There is no discrimination in that? That, oh, the Indians would get a different quality of air and the Westerners would get the different quality of air or type of oxygen? No. Or people from this religion would get different quality of water and people from this religion would get different quality of water? No, no discrimination. Nature has provided all the 5 elements of nature for survival equally to all the creatures of this entire world. Similarly, within this body, there is this conscious entity which is known as the soul. Now, does the soul also require something for its survival, being in this world? Yes. The soul also requires certain qualities. And what is that which the soul requires? The soul requires 7 qualities. No matter what religion we come from, no matter what background we come from, no matter what continent we come from, each and every soul in a human body needs the 7 qualities, which is our eternal nature, the eternal transcendental nature. So which are those 7 qualities that are universal, that are required by every soul to survive on this globe? The first and foremost eternal quality that each and everyone needs is knowledge. Today in the world, everybody is aspiring for knowledge. And it is not the worldly knowledge that we need. Actually, we all need spiritual wisdom. That is why the prayer goes, "O Lord, lead me from the darkness to the light. Lead me from ignorance to knowledge." So, ignorance, nobody would like to stay in that darkness of ignorance. Everybody wants to come into the light of knowledge. So, the light of knowledge is actually the spiritual wisdom that we are aspiring for. And somebody has rightly said, in search of wisdom, we have lost that wisdom and we just acquired knowledge. But in today's world, we have lost knowledge as well, and we have gathered only information. So, in search of real knowledge, we collected information, lost the knowledge. In search of wisdom, we collected knowledge and never reached that wisdom. So that wisdom we are all aspiring for. In this aspiration of true spiritual wisdom, we have seen how science started developing. And science has reached its heights. But still, everybody is still aspiring for that spiritual wisdom, which is the true light. Where can I get that? People are searching outside in the world, exploring the entire world and outside, in space, on other planets. But nowhere can you get that spiritual wisdom because it is within. Just as the outside world is so vast to explore, there is another world which is inside, which is equally vast, unexplored, untapped, unrealized, And so we are lost. It reminds me of a beautiful story that once there was a great saint who went to Japan, and he had a program organized, and the organizers who had invited that great saint to give a lecture, they had hired a big auditorium, and it was about to start. The auditorium was completely packed when suddenly earthquake started. So as the earth was trembling, everybody started running outside the auditorium. Everybody came out of the hall and were outside. Then someone remembered, what about the great saint? Is nowhere to be seen. Where is the master? So someone said, well, we didn't see him. What happened to him? So somebody went inside the auditorium and saw the great saint, the master, sitting on the stage in deep silence. And then everybody started coming in the auditorium. And someone asked the question, Master, we all ran out of this auditorium when the earth shook, when there was this earthquake. How come you didn't run? So the master said, no, I also ran. Just as you ran, I also ran. But all of you ran outside the auditorium, and this was the best time for me to run inside and go within. And it gave me that very beautiful experience of sweet silence. So everybody is running in this world. Some are running outside, while very few, hardly anyone, are running inside also. Because inside there is deep peace that we can all experience. So inside there is a huge world, a vast world, unexplored, unrealized. So when I stabilize my consciousness in that eternal nature, I realize that I am a wise soul. There is a lot of wisdom, light of wisdom inside. Let me just go within and experience that. Once there was a person who was so poor. He used to beg from people so that he can continue with his household expenditures. He can sustain his family members. And he had a piece of land, but the piece of land was so barren, nothing would grow on it. So sometimes he would ask from somebody, sometimes he would ask from somebody, and he used to sustain his family. One day when people came to know that he's collecting money from every one of us, and he is not repaying. How is he going to repay? He just has a piece of land, which is also barren. No one is going to buy that piece of land. So they all got together and said, look, now we are not going to give you money. You'll have to do something for yourself, for your survival, and for the survival of your family. So everybody refused to give him money. So now what to do? Very upset, disturbed. He thought, what type of life is this? And he was like feeling as if it is better to die than to lead such a life. He was standing on that piece of land which he owned, and he thought, this barren piece of land is also not yielding anything. It's of no use. What can I do? So it is better to die. So he was thinking of committing suicide, but he didn't have that much of courage in him. So as he was thinking what to do, which attempt would be better to die, he saw that some people were just coming across the road towards him. When they saw this man, they asked him, "Sir, can you tell us whose land is this?" So he said, "This is my land, but it's a barren land. Nothing would grow here." So those people who came up to him said, "Well, on the basis of our research, we have found out that there is a lot of oil below this land. If you can just give us permission to drill through it, we can pay you the rent for it, no problem." So he said, "Well, I'm in need of money. I don't mind you drilling this piece of land." So they were drilling that piece of land. And as they were going deep, they found out, yes, it was full of oil. And there was so much oil beneath it that every day they can extract 80 barrels of oil from it. So they were all very happy. And they told that man, "Can you sell this piece of land to us? It is of no use to you, but it is of great use to us." So he said, "Well, I don't need this. You can take it, and definitely." So they said, "Okay, we'll give you hundreds and thousands of dollars." So $100,000 for that piece of land. And he was very happy. He repaid all that he had taken from those people. And still he had enough money to sustain his family and his own self also. He was very happy. Similarly, if we see, sometimes people also feel as if their complete life is like a barren land. It is not giving them any experience of happiness, of peace, of bliss, of power, of love. Nothing is coming up in their life. There is no love, no peace, no happiness, no bliss, no power, no understanding. So this is what our life is like, a barren peace. And we try to create happiness in our lives on the basis of some external things. Only if I had this, I would be very happy. Only if I had this, I would be very happy. Only if this person would enter my life, I would be the most happiest person on earth, etc., etc. So many things we are expecting in our physical life. And we think it will bring us a lot of happiness. But after achieving all those things also, still we find we are not happy at all. So, what is missing? Actually, we need to drill ourselves inside, because the potential that can create that happiness, that can give us that experience of peace, happiness, bliss, etc., which is inside. It is not outside. And so, we need to go within, drill inside, and bring that potential out on our physical self and use that in our physical life. And we'll see that, yes, we have received that permanent happiness, permanent peace in our lives. Meditation is the way to drill inside and to extract that inner potential out in our physical lives. And this is what God is also trying to tell Arjuna. Realize your Swadharma. Realize your eternal transcendental nature. And bring that out in this field and fight the battle of life on the basis of that inner potential. So the first thing is wisdom, true understanding. Whenever there is true understanding, whatever we do it with great maturity. Then there is no childishness. Otherwise, we find many people doing childish or having childish behavior, and that is how they are not able to enjoy their lives also. So bringing that wisdom out in our practical lives and leading our practical lives on the basis of that wisdom, which should be applied in our karma, in our actions. Otherwise, as I said, knowledge is so much in the world, information at the tip of your fingers. You just open your mobiles and Google, you get access to all the information in the world, all the knowledge you want to have in the world, isn't it? But someone has rightly said, if you gather all those books of information, encyclopedias, if you gather all that books of knowledge, which the scientific knowledge or whatever knowledge people have in this world, of the external world, and you gather all those books on the road, pile them up, and lit a bonfire, then the heat produced is more than the light. And really, today, this is what has happened. Whatever information people have in their minds, whatever knowledge they have collected in their lives, the heat of arrogance, the heat of ego is so much that there is no light in the practical behavior. So the heat is more than the light. The heat of ego, the heat of arrogance is so much that there is no practical light in their behavior with one another. So this is what we need. Wisdom. What does wisdom do? Why do we need wisdom? Some people have this question. Why do we need wisdom? Well, when there is wisdom, wisdom neutralizes ego. And when wisdom neutralizes ego, we develop a better understanding. And when there is this better understanding, relationships flourish. Today, relationships are ending in breakups. And people are so frustrated in their lives. They don't understand what happened, why they ended up with this breakup. It has hurt them a lot. They don't know how to make it up again. They don't want to break up also, but they cannot continue. So, somewhere in the relationship, there was a little bit of ego clash, some misunderstanding created, and so landed them in breakups. Because people do not have the power to tolerate today. So there is a lot of reactive nature. And because both are reacting, so it breaks up. So what does wisdom do? Wisdom helps us or neutralizes that ego. So the clashes are less. And when the clashes are less, we develop a better understanding. So relationship starts flourishing. So this is why we need practical wisdom in our lives. The second quality is purity. Knowledge alone or wisdom alone is not enough. Pure feelings, pure intentions, pure state of mind is also required. Sometimes we'll hear people saying, well, I had no impure intention. There's nothing wrong that I had in my feelings. But I don't know why this happened. So, if a person has pure intentions and applies wisdom, there is no breakups in life. No relationships can end. But when there is no understanding, no application, and no pure intentions, somewhere there is a lot of selfish intentions. And when the other person comes to know about the selfish intentions, that's it. They feel as if they've been fooled. So, together with wisdom, we also need to have purity. Why? Because that is my real identity. When a child is born, you can see the child so pure and innocent. That is the original nature of each one of us. We are all born so pure and innocent. But as we grow up, we start collecting all the impurities in our lives from the environment, from people around us, from all things that we see, hear, speak of. We start absorbing all the impurities. And as I absorb all the impurities, my intentions, my attitude, my thoughts, they all become impure. And that is where people are not comfortable. Sometimes you find two best friends, they break up, and you ask them, what happened? You were very good friends. And what will they say? Well, later I came to know about his selfish motives. And so I was not comfortable with him. So where are we comfortable? We are always comfortable where there are pure intentions, where there is purity in our feelings, because that is my true identity. Where there is understanding, where there are pure feelings, that is where the third quality, love, flourishes in any relationships. Today, everybody is aspiring for love. That's why I said no matter what religion, what background they come from, everybody needs love. In fact, animals need love. In fact, the flora and fauna all need love. Even nature needs love. You grow a plant with a lot of loveful vibrations. It will grow so beautiful. But you ignore one plant, put it in a corner, do not give love, and you find it withers. It starts dying. So, everybody is aspiring for unconditional love. No love on the basis of any conditions. Unconditional love we all need. Why? Because that is my true nature. That is my true identity. When all the three are there, understanding, knowledge, which brings understanding, pure intentions, pure feelings, unconditional love, then there is peace in life. We are all mentally relaxed. Why are we stressed in today's life? Because there is no love, there is no pure feelings. Everybody has some or the other selfish motives, and there is no understanding. So how can we relax, feel mentally relaxed? So people are mentally exhausted, drained, so much of negative thoughts, because they cannot trust anyone. They cannot trust anyone. Once they see the selfishness, once they see the love based on conditions, we start feeling uncomfortable and mentally stressed, feeling lonely, neglected, rejected. So we can never experience that peace in our lives. So when all the three are there, there is true peace. Peace is not just the atmosphere. Peace is not just in going into temples or going into churches. No. Peace is within. I need to bring that peace out in my life. But it can only come out in life when I already have these three things in my life, experience of these three things. Then I can get the experience of peace also, mentally relaxed. And when all the four are there, then there is true happiness. For happiness, these four are the pillars of life. True understanding, pure feelings, unconditional love, and if I'm mentally relaxed, then there is true happiness. And when all the five are there, then you experience bliss, super sensuous joy, which is so beyond the physical senses also, which gives me inner satisfaction, inner contentment. It is like my mind is always dancing in that joy. I'm filled with those vibrations, encircled, engulfed by that ecstasy, bliss. This is what we all are aspiring for in life. As if to be on the top of the world. And when all the six are there, then there is power. Not physical power, the soul power, willpower. But in today's age, willpower is diminishing. In fact, we have started losing our self-confidence as well. And we are going beyond, far away from that true eternal nature. So my eternal transcendental nature is 7 qualities: spiritual wisdom, purity, love, peace, happiness, bliss, and willpower. Because all these 6 are not just qualities, they are powers. Power of knowledge, power of purity, power of love, power of peace, power of happiness, all are powers. So these 7 qualities is the soul battery. And in today's age, this soul battery is constantly draining. And we don't know how to recharge our soul batteries. So how can we recharge our soul battery? Today, I'll just give you a simple tip of recharging. Try out. You'll definitely enjoy. And this small way of recharging is, how do you recharge your car batteries? How do you keep them recharged? By constantly running the car. If you just bring a new car, put it in the garage, packed for a year or 2, don't use it at all, what happens? The battery drains. The battery is discharged. Similarly, you need to regularly use that car, to keep the batteries recharged. Similarly, when I come to this world, my soul battery is fully charged. You can see a small child. When a child is born, the innocent smile, the innocent laughs. You feel like so much close to that child. If you just lift up a laughing child, you forget your stresses. You forget all your frustrations. As if you are charged for some moment. Being in that company, being in the aura of that child. So when I took birth, came to this world, my soul battery was also fully charged. But then, as a person grows up, what happens? We start expecting from people. I need love. I need happiness. I need power. I need this. I need that. We start expecting from human beings. And wherever there are expectations, it is very difficult to get them fulfilled. So the frustration starts. But today, the simple tip is to keep your battery charged, recharged, the soul battery fully recharged by allowing that energy to just flow from within into the outward world. Therefore, it is said, whatever you have, share. When you share wisdom, your wisdom increases. When you start giving love, your love gets doubled. When you share happiness, it starts multiplying. So let us share. As such, also it is said, whatever we give, you get. It is like that boomerang effect. What you give out to the world, it comes back to you. It comes back. This is a simple principle. We have heard this principle. What you give, you get. And definitely, you get that. You start charging your life, your soul battery on the basis of it. But today, instead of giving, we have started expecting. And this is the mistake that we made. The more we started expecting, it's not just we are expecting, everybody is expecting. So if I'm expecting from somebody else, they are expecting from me. And nobody is able to give one another because both are expecting. And why do we have to expect? Because I feel my soul battery is discharged. So I need the help of this person to charge up. But just as my battery is discharged, his battery is also discharged. So how can a discharged battery charge another discharged battery? Simple logic. So nobody is getting charged. And day by day, we are getting discharged. And that is why all this frustration is increasing in life. So from today, instead of expecting, let us start giving. Because it will multiply, it will double. As you give, you'll get. It will start coming from inside. Start coming out. In this world, everybody is giving. All the 5 elements of nature are giving. The sun is giving. The trees are giving. The rivers are giving. The ocean is giving. All the 5 elements of nature are giving us. Not only that, but even whatever human beings have created is also giving us. The rooftop of this house is giving us shade, shelter, right? The fan is giving us breeze. tube lights, the lights are giving us, the ACs are giving us, the chair you are sitting on, the sofa you are sitting on is giving you comfort. The tables that you are using is giving you comfort. Everything that is created by human beings is also giving us, except human beings. We are constantly taking. So we are so used to in taking that we have forgotten to give. There's a beautiful story that once there was a king who announced that he has got so many gifts from far and wide that he doesn't have a place in his palace to keep. So he would like his people to come up, and whoever would like whichever thing for their house, they can just pick it up and take it from the king. So the next day, the king saw that there was a huge queue, a huge line. People were so happy that our king is giving us some beautiful gifts that he has. And naturally, the king's gifts were very valuable. So every time the person would choose something, say, I'd like to have that, I would like to have this. So the king, when he gives, as his hand would be like on the top, and the person who's taking, his hand is below. So whenever he would give, there was a smile on his face, as if he was experiencing so much of happiness in giving. So there was a beggar in that line. And every time when he saw the king's face radiating with those smiles, and everybody was like blessing the king, may you live long, may you live long. So the beggar thought, I think this is what I need the most, the blessings and that smile. Now, I don't have anything to give, so what can I give? So he was thinking what to give so that I also get that experience. So by that time, he had reached the king's. So the king was asking, so what do you want, gentlemen? So he asked the person who was behind him, please, can you go ahead? Please, can you go ahead? So he was like giving his turn to others. And whoever would get that turn would say, thank you, bless you, and would move forward, take their gift from the king, and would move forward. And this person was giving his turn to everyone. And every time people said, thank you, bless you, he also felt that happiness inside. And by the end of the day, he was feeling so contented. Today, I gave something. So the next day, in the newspapers, there was a huge coverage of what the king had given to the people. But together with the king, there was the fame of this beggar also, that there was one person who didn't take anything from the king, but every time he was giving his turn to somebody else. And he was so joyful in giving his turn to somebody. What generosity he had. So the king's generosity also was there, written in the newspapers, in the news, flashing. But together with that king's generosity, the generosity of this beggar was also mentioned. And his fame also went far and wide, that this beggar was giving his turn to others, all the ones who were behind him. What a generous heart he had. So the next day again, when the king read all that, the king said, no, he just gave his turn, and so much of fame for him. So again he announced, today also the king would give out gifts. So again the huge line started. Again that beggar came. So as soon as the king saw the beggar standing behind, he called that beggar, come here. Please take whatever you want first and go ahead. Go away from here. So the beggar said, I don't need anything. These gifts are of no use. Where will I keep them? I don't even have a house. But then why are you doing that? Why are you in the line? He said, whenever I saw your face, it was glowing with that happiness. And I wanted to get that experience. So I had nothing to give out. The only thing I had was my turn. So that's why when I gave my turn to the ones who were behind me and they blessed me, I was feeling so much of contentment. There was so much of inner satisfaction, so much of happiness that I received. And I thank you for that. It tells us or gives us this lesson. In giving, nobody is losing. It is multiplying. You multiply with blessings, you multiply with happiness, you multiply with everything. So you recharge your battery. As such, also it is said, if you want respect, give respect, and you'll get respect. If you want cooperation, give cooperation, you will get cooperation. But if you give someone bad words, criticisms, you are going to get that only. What you give, you get. So this is the most easiest way to recharge your soul battery. Give happiness, you will get happiness. Give peace, you'll get peace. Give love, you'll get love. Whatever I start sharing from today, I recharge my soul battery. And this is what God was saying to Arjuna, that on the basis of this immense potential, which is lying there dormant, as such also the scientists have said, that human beings, they are just utilizing 5% of their inner potential in their practical lives. And a genius uses 15% of his inner capabilities. 85% of his capabilities are also lying there dormant, untapped, unused, unidentified also. So from today, let us bring that inner potential out in our practical lives, and we see that the whole world would start changing. When we expect, we don't get. When we start giving, you start receiving, and it multiplies. Sometimes we hear people say, well, I didn't want anything, just wanted love. Can't I expect that? But the person should be charged with love. If the person's battery is completely discharged, how can you get love? I just wanted some happiness, that's all. But he should have that happiness to give you also. He should have it in his life. And that is why we find sometimes many love marriages end up breakups. Why? Because first, they are both like mutually giving love, getting love. But then once they get into the bond, then there is a lot of expectations, and both are trying to snatch from each other, and finally they break up. So we have not understood the real art of living. Once I understand this art of living, how I need to be in this world, how I need to live in this world, then each battle of life, I'll start winning each battle of life. Because this potential of 7 inner qualities, innate qualities, is so powerful. When I use them in my practical life, there is nothing like I feel I'm battling, struggling, but as if I'm enjoying. The challenges are coming, but I know how to address them on the basis of my innate qualities. And these are universal. No matter what religion, background, or people come from, whichever country, but everybody wants the 7 qualities in their lives. So to recharge, this is the first technique. Let us start sharing, giving to everyone, and we will double, we will multiply our happiness, our love inside. The second is to stabilize yourself in that consciousness. And it is said, as you think, so you become. So when I generate those qualities of thoughts in my mind, I start recharging my battery, soul battery. So let us for a few minutes sit in meditation, and as the saying has been there since ages, know thyself, realize thyself. So now I know what my true identity is, that I am a pure being, I am a peaceful being, the soul, I am that, human beings. So the being in the body is peaceful, loveful, happy soul. So let us be that. The more I can be, I start generating through my thoughts, through my power of thoughts. So for a few moments, let us turn our attention away from the external world and just focus within the center of the forehead and realize the true identity. I am a peaceful being. I am a pure being. With my inner eye, I visualize myself in the center of the forehead as a pure being, constantly radiating, full of energy. I can feel the peace around me. My thoughts are calming down. There is true peace that I experience. I am the embodiment of peace. I can feel the vibrations of peace around me. I am a powerful being. This is my true identity. And as I stabilize my consciousness in my true self, I recharge my soul battery. Slowly and gradually, I empower myself from within. Such a beautiful feeling. And during the day, I share with everyone. When I change, the world starts changing around me. Om Shanti, Shanti. So, this was today's discourse on Gita. Hope to see you next week with further divine insights. Thank you, Sister Panna. Thank you, Sister Catherine. Thank you, all the brothers and sisters, for being with us today evening. Om Shanti.